Now next, let me introduce you Dr. Xizhen Qin, our keynote speaker, Associate Professor of Chinese at the University of South Florida. Her topic today is Revisiting the Concept of Culture in Foreign Language Classroom. Let's welcome.
Hello everyone. Please keep awake. There will be pop quiz. And your teacher will grade your performance today. I think this works well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So my name is Xizhen Qin, and I'm from the University of South Florida. I'm teaching Chinese language and culture courses there. So pop quiz 1. What should you call me in Chinese culture? Let me hear you. Yeah, good. You're very good students. Good, you got that. Can you hear me? Good. So I got my PhD from the Ohio State University, and I lived in Columbus for 6 years. And also Ohio was my first stop when I came to the US. So I always consider Ohio as my American hometown. So I really appreciate the Confucius Institute giving me this opportunity to return home. And also today I'm very impressed to see there are so many students here in Cleveland who are learning Chinese language. I think we should thank the hard work of Confucius Institute for their promotion of the Chinese language and culture, and also your wonderful Chinese teachers, right? Okay, let's give them a round of applause. Also, I was told only the very brave and smart kids will pick Chinese as your foreign language. Is that so? Yeah. Good. Please give yourself a pat on the back. Okay. Yes. Good. But I always curious, why do you want to learn Chinese? Because we know Chinese is traditionally considered as one of the most challenging and difficult foreign languages for American learners, right? Why? So let's do a quick survey. So if you choose A, I want to be able to read Chinese books. Please raise your hand. Okay, we got a couple hands. And B, be able to write Chinese characters. Wow, we have a lot of fun of Chinese characters. Good. And C, be able to communicate with Chinese people. Wow, we have more people. Good. And D, my parents forced me to learn. Good. I can only see your parents are really smart. Okay, they make the right choice for you. Why? Because now Chinese is becoming the magic phrase. What's the magic phrase? What's this? Open sesame, right? So once you master the Chinese language, it's kind of you master the magic power of communicating with how many people? More than 1 billion. That's about 3 times of American population and about 20% of the world population. So it will open doors for you, many doors for you in your future. This is the most updated report from the US employers. So let's see, it says 9 out of 10 US employers mentioned they have a great need in employees who can speak a foreign language other than English. And 56% said in the next 5 years, the demand, foreign language demands will be increased. So get yourself ready. And from this chart, maybe you cannot see that very clearly, Chinese is ranked as the second, right after Spanish. Yeah, nobody can beat Spanish. Okay, so no matter what you wanted to do for your future, maybe it's too early to think about that. Maybe you want to work in the business field, or work for the American government, or the STEM field. Foreign language is always a must. Okay, so congratulations, you made the right choice. And as we can see, being able to communicate is the majority students' purpose for learning language. In foreign language education, the three keywords, communication, language, and culture, are the most commonly mentioned keywords. And it almost become a cliche to say language and the culture cannot be separated. Culture should be integrated into foreign language learning. And the scholar Milton Bennett said, to study a language without learning its culture is a great way to make a fluent fool of yourself. So anybody knows what a fluent fool means? Anybody can answer this question? Pop quiz 2. What is a fluent fool? Okay.
I think a fluent fool is somebody who knows the language but nothing about the culture.
Yes. If you know the language very well, you can speak the foreign language fluently, but you don't know their culture. In the native's eyes, you are act like a fool. So you don't want to be considered like that, right? Okay, so culture, I think nowadays, very few foreign language teachers will argue the importance of cultural instruction. But the real question here is, what is culture? What kind of culture should be taught in the Chinese classroom? I have been visiting the Chinese classroom in the past 10 years, and here are some common practices of cultural instruction I observed. Some teachers teach their students how to do paper cutting, and I think a couple of teachers mentioned it before. And these American students are dressed up in traditional Chinese clothing to make dumplings to celebrate the Chinese New Year. And also, some are watching the Chinese movies of Chinese martial arts, right? Who is this guy? Quiz? Yes, Jack Chan, I know you guys are fan of him. And also, they are learning Chinese paintings. Also, they talk about Peking opera. I guess maybe in your summer camp, you had the chance to enjoy, and also talking about the panda, the delicious Chinese cuisine, and also don't forget the Great Wall. Yes, the Great Wall. So the question here is, I'm not saying you cannot teach this as culture. There are very good examples of culture, but should this culture be the focus of the foreign language classroom?
Yes.
Yes? Why?
Because it's fun to learn about.
Yeah, it's fun.
Experiences and how you celebrate your culture.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Learning those kind of culture will definitely improve your love of Chinese culture, but that's just the first step. After you sit in the language classroom, you have to learn something more that's related to communication. Remember my first question? What is the ultimate goal of learning Chinese?
One day go to speak, go to China and learn and communicate with other people.
Yes, to communicate with Chinese people in English? Yeah, English? No, in Chinese language, right? So now let's see, let's put it another way to see what type of culture should be taught in the language classroom. So if Chinese people would say to an American, this American doesn't know Chinese culture at all. What could this mean most likely? A, the American doesn't know where the Great Wall is. Or B, do not know how many dynasties there are in Chinese history. Or cannot recite a famous Chinese poem. Or D, paying his own bill after having dinner with his Chinese friends. Which one?
B.
B. C, D, F. So what's the F? Very creative. So the answer is D. You see what? Why? Because if you don't know the answer A, B, or C, Chinese people will not blame you because you are a foreigner, so you're not supposed to know all these answers. But if you act like D, you pay your own bill after having dinner with your Chinese friends, very likely your friendship will end there. Your vision of communication will fail. So I think at this time, as language teachers, Chinese language teachers, we should really think about, reconsider the concept of culture and redefine the culture we should teach in the language classroom. We should stop teach culture as a lollipop of language learning. It's like, hi guys, we have learned Chinese for the boring and hard language for 40 minutes. How about we talk about Chinese culture as a reward for 10 minutes? So it's kind of a lollipop as a reward to the students' hard work they learn language. This kind of culture teaching is more like the Disney World showcase the world culture in the ride. It's a small world. Anybody has been to the Disney World? Is a small world? Raise your hand.
That's stuck in my head for a year.
Oh, how year? Okay. So I'm from Florida. I really love going there, take the ride with my kids. It's really enjoyable and relaxing. Do we have time to play just a couple minutes? Yeah, I know you guys love Disney World. We want to watch more, but we don't have much time. Anyway, I think it's right. You will have a taste of the world culture kind of in 5 minutes. So you will see the different clothes, the exotic songs or customs, all this. It's fun and it's relaxing, but as I said, are those cultures really related to communication? So, back to my topic. I'm not criticizing those who are teaching this culture, but I just want everyone, our Chinese language teachers, to have a deeper thing, okay? So what is culture? Probably this is the most complicated definition in human history. There are hundreds or thousands of definitions of culture. And luckily, in the foreign language education field, scholars already categorize culture into different groups. They have those 2 C's, like a big C culture, small C culture, or the 3 P's model, Chinese perspective, Chinese practice, and the Chinese products, or the 2 M models, Chinese minds or Chinese manifestations. I will not go into details to make you guys fall asleep. So I will adopt Hector Hamlet's definition of culture for the language. We want to talk about what are the most useful and helpful culture for foreign language learners. So Hector Hamlet defined culture in the 3 ways. So the first is achievement culture. So it represents the great achievements of a society. So anyone can give me an example of achievement culture? Pop quiz. Give me one example of achievement culture in Chinese culture. Achievement culture. The great achievements of Chinese society. The Great Wall, yes. Bingo, you got it. Okay, and I think Peking Opera, also the Great Wall, Chinese cuisine, all these belong to this category, achievement culture. And also the second category is informational culture. It deals with the kinds of information that a society values, as well as historical and other facts and figures about the society. Can anyone give me an example of informational culture? I think Dr. Paul just now explained who Confucius is, right? And what he did, why Chinese people respect him for thousands of years. I think this kind of knowledge belongs to informational culture. And the third one is called behavioral culture, and that is my point. So behavioral culture refers to the daily practice and beliefs that define an individual and dictate behavior in a specific society. This is the culture who defines you as an American or a Chinese. So behavior culture should be the focus of our teaching. So among these three categories, it's obviously behavior culture should be the focus for the Chinese language class. Because this is the one most related to communication. To help you better understand what behavioral culture is, we can see more examples. So behavior culture includes common things as eating habits and manners, manner of greeting, also how to conduct a transaction at a bank, how to order a meal in a restaurant. Things like you guys did in the summer camp in Beijing or in Chengdu. I think you guys are already doing those or learning this behavioral culture. But in the US, we can also learn behavioral culture. You don't have to always go to China to learn their behavioral culture. Right? It's too expensive, right? So you might think, aha, sounds easy, behavioral culture, just learn to do things. Yeah, but wait a minute until we see these examples. This is an example of how to be a good guest or good host. So if you visit your friend's house, it's very common. Your friend will offer you a drink, right? If both the host and the guest are from American culture, when the host asks, what do you want to drink? What would you say? Yeah, usually you're going to ask, what do you have? Or ask directly, can I have some juice or water? Or if you don't want any, just say, oh, no, I'm good, thank you. And then that's a very common exchange, right? But in Chinese culture, the same communication is going to go differently. So usually the host would ask, pop quiz, who can read in Chinese? What the Chinese host would say when offering you a drink? Anybody can answer? Great! Yeah. I see that. Okay. And what would the Chinese guest would answer? If an appropriate answer, a very polite guest, what would the guest answer?
不，谢谢。
哦，不用，谢谢，不用，别麻烦了。哦 ，no, thank you, I'm good. Does the guest really means he's not thirsty, doesn't want to drink at all? Anybody knows? Yeah, maybe we can ask a Chinese teacher to answer. Does that really mean he doesn't want anything? Any Chinese teachers? Chinese from China? Do you really mean that? If the guest said, 哦，你喝点什么？哦，不用，别麻烦了。
喝点什么 is what do you want to drink?
Right.
不用，别麻烦了 is like, oh, I don't need that.
Yeah. Do you really mean that? If you are Chinese? No.
We are just be polite and say, don't need you do extra
Yes.
work for me. But
Yes.
the host still like bring out, we have tea, we
Right.
have ice water. But generally, Chinese people not bring ice water.
Right. I
Hot
see a
water.
lot of Chinese people are here in this room. So do you all agree with Wang Lao's explanation? Do you agree? Oh yeah, I saw a lot of people are nodding. Yes, I think the Chinese guest is just expecting the second or third offer from the host. And the host knows the rule of the game, so he will keep offering until the guest have a drink in the end. So if you don't know the game rule, like in cross-cultural communication, like American host and the Chinese guest, what would be the scenario? When the Chinese guest declines the first offer and expects the second or third offer, only find the American host stopped offering, and the guest will stay thirsty the whole time without a drink. And what's the other way? If the Chinese host offered and the American guest said, "Oh yes, can I have some juice?" What would be the Chinese host think? Well, this American kind of lack of social manners is not that polite. So you don't want to leave a very bad impression just being don't know the game rule, right? So you might think, oh, this is not a big deal. I have a student previously graduated from Ohio State. He made this video attending Chinese banquet. So I think we really want you guys to watch this one. And also I hope you still have the courage to participate in Chinese banquet. You might think, wow, there are too many cultural rules to remember. How could we do that? Yes, we can. Behavior culture is teachable. So in my classroom, as Dr. Glowaker and Marinoda said, nobody is learning a foreign language. Rather, they are learning how to do things in that language. So in my classroom, students are just as the sneaker company tells us what, just do it. So do things as natives do. So in my classroom, we teacher and students, we change our classroom into a stage. And our students learn behavior culture by performance. The teacher play the role of like a movie director, and the students are actors or actresses. And then the teacher set up the context, create the scenarios, and then the students stand up and come to the front to perform. So they memorize their scripts and rehearse until they can communicate naturally, like the native Chinese speakers do. And the teacher will watch their performance and then provide feedback and give them a grade. So they are learning culture and also in a very fun way. So it's not always learning language is hard and boring. So they can always learn in a very fun way. So three components are involved in teaching behavior culture. One is the verbal behavior. We can see it's kind of like the language, but we are not train our students to be linguists. Like let them sit on their seats producing grammatically correct but useless sentences. We ask them to do scenarios like they encountered in the summer camp, like shopping in China and bargaining for a better price. So we provided them with those authentic and really useful scripts. Besides that, we also pay much attention to the non-verbal behaviors. That's including gestures, even facial expressions. Because in real communication, actually more than 65% of the message is conveyed by non-verbal behaviors. Like in our classroom, we are not allow, we don't allow our students to shrug, because Chinese people don't do that. So why we don't want our students to shrug? They are Americans, because if you speak perfect Chinese and the Chinese students already kind of take you as an insider, as the in-group member, when you shrug, that keep reminding them, oh, you are a foreigner, they should treat you differently. So that's why we correct those behaviors, although you might think it's not a big deal. And also, besides that, we also talk about the cultural values, the cultural perspectives. But usually we don't do that at the beginning. Most of you are from K-12 schools. So the beginning level, we just let our students do it. When they move up to the advanced level, we kind of started to talk about the cultural perspective to let them better understand the rationale behind those behaviors. They are more mature and more and can better understand the difference. So there are 4 principles if you want something takeaway for teaching behavior culture. The first one is I have the Chinese translation there, so it's better for the Chinese teachers. So it's enter the village and follow its customs, just as the saying goes, when in Rome, do as Romans do. And then the second one is position yourself in that situation. So when the students perform in the classroom, try to use their imagination of the roles they are playing and also the scenarios because they are preparing for their future when they really go to China and interact with real Chinese people. So they have to take it serious. It's not just a drama. And also the third is experience it firsthand and practice it earnestly. So just do it, as we said. And also, the last one is habitual actions become one's second nature. So as time going on, after years of performance, the cultural performance, the students kind of form 2 types of cultural manners. When interacting with Americans, they are Americans. That doesn't change. But when they interact with Chinese people, they act like Chinese people. That's what I think is Ms. Ali, the director of cultural education, right? As he mentioned, it's gonna help you to build up the intergroup relations with the Chinese people. Do we have time for pop quiz? Okay, I will leave this pop quiz to your teachers. Okay, so look at those pictures. Practicing riding a bicycle, swimming, playing basketball, and driving. I know a lot of you are good at doing this. How are these activities related to foreign language learning? What are the similarities between? Oh, I saw a hand. So you have to. Okay, the microphone is coming. Similarities?
I feel like the similarities are, they say when you ride a bike, it's just like riding a bike, you'll get the hang of it and it'll be easier as you keep trying.
Yes, keep trying. Yeah, another word is practice. Yes, all these activities and also as well as foreign language learning needs practice. Yes. What else? Oh, okay, we hold on the hands.
Well, I could say that with driving and learning a foreign language, that it takes time.
Yes, it takes time. It's actually foreign language learning is a lifelong career. Me, I have learned English for more than 30 years and I'm still learning it. Okay, yes, it takes time. And if you want it to be perfect, of course. And there are more. The answer is at the end. I'm gonna spoil it now. They are all skills. So from now on, don't think learning Chinese is learning something knowledge. You are learning a skill. Just like you learn how to play football or basketball. Okay. And so there are 2 competences, linguistic competence and cultural competence. And I have 4 colorful faces. Who do you think would be the least successful learner in the future? The green or the yellow, the red or the blue face? The green. Why? Because he has no linguistic competence, no cultural competence. But I would say at least he has the potential and hope, right? Because he hasn't started. He might be a successful learner in the future, but look at the blue guy, the blue face. He has very high linguistic competence, but very low cultural competence. The more he interacts with native speakers, the more people he will offend. Because natives, it's easy to forgive those misbehaviors if made by beginners. they would interpret as, they don't know the culture, it's a cultural misunderstanding. But if the misbehavior made by a Chinese old hand, I mean, he can speak Chinese fluently, so it's intentionally, he's purposing offend. Yes, it's the fluent fool. So I think the blue guy is the one in danger. Okay. So I used this teaching method for many years, both at Ohio State University and South Florida. And in one word, students love it. They are learning culture and they are having fun. And I don't want to read them all, but also I want to share with you the feedback from the Chinese community. I led the study abroad program too for many years to China. And I let my students interact with the local people. And almost every year, I got this feedback. Your students are not like other Americans. I take this as the highest form of praise. Why? Because it tells us our students are changing their behaviors. They are kind of starting to be accepted by the locals. They treat them as a member of their community. So I hope you guys can join them in the future. You guys definitely you will be bilingual in Chinese and English, but more importantly, be bicultural. So I think with your language and culture skills, you can help to build a better relationship between China and the U.S. And a better relationship between China and the U.S. rely on you guys. You are the future of the U.S. Okay, thank you.